We're on Nemo TV. We're on Facebook. This is
You're making this up as you go.
Yeah.
You're making these names up as you go. I don't know Nemo, Diva. What is
Half of it is made up, but we're good. Look at this. We're good. Max, this is your show. I'm just here. I'm gonna switch it over to speaker view and listen, man. Let me pin it real quick.
Me speaker. No,
I already pinned you. No, you're all right. Listen, start us off, and we're good to go. We got this thing, man.
Cool,
oh, and we're on Twitch too. So if you're on Twitch, we can go there as well.
Oh gosh, well, yeah, good to see everyone here. I'm glad to be on Doc's show. Bill with me. Well, this is basically a normal 100 days of no code workshop, but the twist is that we're going to be where we are on Doc's channel. So that is the twist of this hour's session. And what we're going to be doing is going to be picking the brains of Doc Williams and understanding how the hell he fits in so much in a day, but also how he ships so many no-code projects. But generally, this is a really loose session. It's going to be an AMA style thing. So we're just going to be firing away, asking questions at Doc and seeing if he can answer them. So, but before we do that, it would be great to get an intro of Doc on his own channel. So could you please introduce yourself, Doc, and tell us what you do?
Oh, thank you so much, Max. I appreciate it. And you know what? This is the thing with live streaming. When you're on your own channel, there are tons of people that have never seen you and they randomly show up to you anyway. So I'm reintroducing myself all the time. So my name is Doc Williams. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this show, 100 Days of No Code, in this AMA. It was a shameless plug of Max to be on my channel and then hijack my audience to sign up for his program, but that is okay. Basically, I'm a brand developer and also a consultant, and some people call it a solution architect or whatever. I just plainly say I try to help people to make money as quick as possible with no-code tools and to validate and scale. And the way I started in the fitness realm. I was a physical therapist assistant. I was a massage therapist, and I had my own practice, and I had a gym. And I wanted to learn marketing because I didn't know how to use WordPress or anything like that. And so I ended up starting to use AppSumo and no-code tools like 9 years ago. And then from there, I got burnt out. I sold my gym, and then I started working for influencers in fitness, athletes and Olympians, and I started building their funnels using different no-code tools. And from there, if you know anything in tech in the fitness industry, they automatically think you're the smartest tech person. So I became a CTO twice at 2 different startups, simply just knowing how to use WordPress and connecting no-code tools. And 4 startups later, I was burnt out. It felt like I was 85 years old being in that many startups. And I said, you know what? I love shipping. I love building projects. I love helping people. Let me start consulting. And then that's where I am now. So yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. I don't know, we'll get to this on a more micro level, like your day to day, but how the hell have you done all of that in your career so far? That sounds like someone's whole career up until they're 70 or something. I'm not joking. How have you done all of that? And you've fit in. It sounded like to me there was about 5 to 10 different careers in that snapshot.
Yeah. So, and by the way, Pierre's watching on Periscope. Thanks so much for being here. And so basically, I just work about 25 or 30 hours, and then I'll tell you in a second. But basically, it's a book called Deep Work, and so I structure my day in half an hour breakdowns, 20 minutes of work, 10 minutes of breaks. But I would always try to. I just looked at the downtime, and then I looked at what could I do, and then I would just basically zone everything else out to complete that. And to tell you the truth, my life was just on fire for many years because I was not organized enough. And then I learned how to bullet journal and how to execute and do those kind of things. So the book was Deep Work by Cal Newport, and then also learning how to bullet journal. That's how I did it. In between that, I used to teach at a few universities while I wasn't seeing patients. So it is always not been balanced, but it's just always been that way. But I will say, Justin might be watching this. I had a friend, Justin, he's the only guy that has ever had more jobs than me. And he had 87 jobs. He's 33, but he was just really brilliant. But if he's watching, he knows that's the truth. He would quit jobs because he could always get another job. So he was really, really good like that. But he was so much more, he was so talented. He could just pick something up and then forget it. So like he showed me Bubble and he got it in like an hour and a half and could build things. 4 years later, I still hate Bubble. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a difference, but he really taught me how to do a lot of these things and then going from here. Yeah.
And how many jobs have you had? What's your count?
At one time or all together?
Well, both. It'd be interesting.
The record, well, my record, 6 jobs at once. I'm at 43 total.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've, I wasn't balanced. So you got to take it with a grain of salt with that. But that was crazy. That was probably between like 2010 and 2012, just like all the time.
It doesn't surprise me, and I don't think it will surprise anyone in this room. But I'm intrigued. Like, so you're sort of bouncing around different jobs, and you're like infusing tech in more and more of them, especially like no code tech, at which point no one knows what no code is. When do you sort of make that transition to like, oh, okay, like now I'm going to make this a thing? I know you've obviously got your YouTube channel, but when does that all sort of rise up? I know you the AppSumo stuff as well, but and Sharetribe, but when did that begin?
So you're talking about no code in general?
Yeah. Like for you though, like when did that like come into play like big time?
Okay, so this is the thing. I know no code is like this year and a half thing. To me, no code was like been around like close to 10 years. Like what do you call like no code? Like what's the original one, right? So there's all these OG ones and what is that one? It's a Microsoft one. Mark will probably know. I know it in my head.
Visual Basic?
It's purple in my head, I think. It's a hot mess of oh my goodness.
Maybe it is a current one now.
It was, this is probably like 2004, 2005, around that. Visual Basics Microsoft as well?
Access. You're thinking Microsoft Access.
Yes. Thank you.
That's a database.
Yes. To me, like that was like a no code tool, like back in the day. It sucks compared but to me, like Microsoft Access, and then when I used Dreamweaver, those were my two first things of like building. And so in my head, those are my two no code like started packs. But in like that was in high school, and then it was really bad and I left. But I would say I remember Zapier being on AppSumo, and that was like what, 2011. MailChimp was on there as well. So that's in my head. When I found AppSumo and I found like plugins and everything, that was no code tools to me. And so that's what it was. And then a year and a half ago, I was lamenting to a friend of mine, and I was like, no one understands me, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm doing all this stuff. He's like, why aren't you doing stuff like in no code? And I didn't even know that was a term. He's like, yeah, it sounds like that's what you're doing. So I would put it back almost a decade. I was using those things. And yeah, Access reminds me a lot of the same mechanics that I'm doing in no code. It's just a lot more SaaS platforms that I can mess with now.
Yeah,
that makes
awesome.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to dig into the archives. I've got one more question, and then I'd love to just chuck it open to everyone. But I feel like you've had the most amount of jobs anyone has ever done, nearly, apart from your friend Justin, and you can fit the most amount in your days. I think you've also tried the most amount of no-code tools. I've got a feeling like you've gone through AppSumo's library or suite of like various no-code tools that no one has a clue about, and you're always pulling stuff out that I've never heard about before. So I'd love to hear about like the hidden gems in your like toolkit, and what ones you'd say people are like sleeping on at the moment.
Oh man, that's crazy. So yeah, so I'm not sure if I have the I'll put it there. There's some other addicts on AppSumo that will say they've bought more than me, but I challenge them how many have used as many as me. So my record is 513 at the moment. And so looking at that stack over the last couple of years, I have Max, that's a hard question. I would just say, like, what are you trying to do? And then I would tell you, like, that's the tool I like. Like, so chatbots, I remember when Landbot, that was another lifetime deal back in the day. Now they're, you know, got VC funding, got that for $99 lifetime. So like Landbot, Hello Tars, and then like Botstar, my favorite for chatbots and things like that. My go-to, like Paperform, like people sleep on Paperform all the time. Paperform's huge, and Story Chief, I think those are the most underrated. But you would have to be specific. I just came out with something with my favorite 100 tools. So I can find that real quick.
Yeah,
but
that'd be great.
You tell me. But yeah, those are like a couple that I think of off the top of my head.
I know you that you have like a few, because of your bubble struggles, you have a few like alternatives. What's the ones that you I'm saying that as someone that's also completely fallen flat on his face in bubble as well, so yeah, by no means taking a slight there, but like you use, was it Barber, what's it called?
GoodBarber.
Like
so,
tools like that, like alternatives to bubble that people don't know about. I'd be intrigued what they are.
Yeah. So real quick, Pierre's talking about Landbot. You already know about that. Esteban's talking about deep work. Thank you so much for being here on the Twitch channel. Okay, a couple things. GoodBarber, I think GoodBarber is massively underrated. They just don't market to the right audience. So GoodBarber's been around close to like 10 or 11 years. Oh, it's a French tool, by the way. Good times. And GoodBarber, one of the things, you know what, Max, can I just pull up my screen and just show you like why? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So GoodBarber, and how many else do you want? Like, what's my limit?
Oh, there's no limit here. Yeah, I mean, actually, maybe that's not a good idea, but with the amount. But your top ones, so your ones that you rate big time.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you like a couple things. Like, so GoodBarber, it's not the flashiest, but what I like about it is it's almost like, I want to say it's dummy proof in the way that it's built that you can't break it, right? So to me, even if I want to build very quickly, I would go with like, what is that? BuildFire and GoodBarber are pretty much on the same level, but GoodBarber has a lot of these like native parts that like are still missing in a lot. So let me what I mean by that. Let's go with the features. So I can do geofencing with GoodBarber. I can do one-click payouts on this. Let's see. I can do so much with this platform. It's really basic. It reminds me of building a blog. I can do push notifications. I can do geofencing. I can have something where I can integrate and bring in my feed for podcasts, YouTube, whatever. There's just so many things that I can do with this. And they just don't talk about themselves enough. And they cater more towards business. And I think that's why they're not in the no code conversation. But I'm just going to show you real quick. So one of my clients that they were going to pay $115K for a developer to do this. And I did this in an hour on stream. And now they have over 115 users on this bad boy. And now they're going for their funding round. But it was all done on GoodBarber in one round. And so what we have right here, she's a sports agent. And so she manages a lot of talent. So imagine this is almost like a Fiverr or a marketplace for talent. So she has all of her clients that she manages. She can also have all of the events that they're available for, what their speaking engagements. She broke down all of browse the talent by their genre. Down here, it also, you can create an opportunity of how much you're willing to pay for that athlete to speak, all of those things. And she has like UFC fighters that have been winning. She has quite a bit. You can also talk to the different athletes and negotiate prices themselves, all with GoodBarber, and did this in an hour.
Wow.
Like they just don't market themselves as like what they need to do. Now, is it perfect for everyone? Is it great for flexibility? And if you want to change like the workflows? No, it's concrete, but I think that it just has so many good use cases. So I think, yeah, GoodBarber is probably up there that I keep coming back to. Yeah. So yeah, I'll stop there for a second.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. I think there are like those hidden gems out there that aren't necessarily like marketed as no-code tools, or at least like on that wave. And yeah, I think you're bringing them sort of out of the darkness a little bit, which is good. But yeah, I want to hear everyone else's questions. So yeah, please just come off mute and fire away.
Then also too, I have the 90-day, like I have a breakdown of how I do my day that might help, but I'll go through that later. But any questions, I'll answer anything.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, Doc. We've we've met a few times, but
hey, Mark.
What's the deal with you never seeming to sleep either? So because there's messages coming through, and there's a big time difference, and it doesn't seem to matter to you. So have you got some sort of strategy for managing that?
Yeah, I did message you at like 4 this morning. So okay. So there's this thing, and so I mean, this might be a shock to some people, but it looks like my wife says I possibly could have ADHD. And so there's this thing. I'll just say it this way. I sleep when I get tired, or like when I like in the midday when I have like a slump and I don't feel good. Like I don't drink coffee. I just take a nap. And so I just sleep when I feel tired, and then I work when I feel motivated. So I mainly only work 2 blocks in time. I work in the mid-afternoon, like this time, for like 3 hours. And I just live stream and do stuff like this. And then I usually just take a nap, and then I work for another 45 minutes in the evening. And then I usually feel like I just feel energy around 1 or 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I just go into deep work, and then I just work for another like 45 to 60 minutes. So I'm not saying it's for everyone, but they said it's some kind of thing throughout history. They call it like second sleep, or some people have this where they can sleep multiple times a day. So I just sleep in blocks, and then that's it. I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying this is good for your health. But
it sounds like a classic case for what Mike was talking about, and it's asynchronous working. So you are working when's convenient for you, and you produce your best work on those terms. And it just sounds like you've already been doing that for a long time. So good stuff. Thanks for that. I don't know if I could get away with with sort of that sort of schedule, but it's whatever works, I suppose. It's whatever's good.
Now the 90-minute one I want to show you, that might help. That might help you because I couldn't always do this, like except certain times when I was a massage therapist, and like I used to work in a spa. So like when I didn't see patients, I would just turn off the lights and sleep on my own bed. Like I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. Like I just always been like this. But if I was working corporate or things like that, and I had to be awake or something, I would either do like 90-minute like blocks, and then I would kind of be awake, and just to make sure I didn't sleep in the middle of the day. But yeah. Oh, one thing, if you don't mind, if I could show this, Max, as you were doing this, I was thinking about, you were talking about asynchronous. This is another tool that people sleep on all the time. Stand Uply, it syncs with Slack. And now, because if you have a team around the world and you don't want to have stand-ups all the time, it's a bot. And so if you want to have like people reporting, or they need to have certain integrations with Google Analytics, GitHub or whatever, you can have them post their messages or their stand-up, and it aggregates everything that your team has done. It sends it to an email, or it can be in a channel on Slack. But this really helped because I was working with a lot of teams in Ukraine and in India, and then I'm in the US on East Coast. It was just a hot mess. There was no way we could ever do it. So I would record one video of like, this is what we need to do for the week. And then everyone else would use Stand Uply, and everyone was using Slack. So yeah, asynchronous, this is pretty much my go-to tool. Yeah.
That's awesome. I've actually got a few questions from Scott, who can't actually come off the mic. Is it cool if I'll just fire away, Doc, and if anyone else has any questions in between, just butt in and we can ask them sort of in stages. But this is quite a few. There's like a starter, main, and dessert of questions here. What makes a great no-code experience? So essentially, what makes a good like no-code product in your view?
Oh, that's interesting. What makes a good no-code product? You know what? It depends on my workflow. And then also if it can accomplish whatever I need it to do. So like there's so many things that overlap, and there's so many tools that can do similar things. The unfair advantage of a certain tool that I pick one over the other is my working style, and if I like it and if it fits me. I know that sounds really like I don't know, ambiguous, or it can't be described, but I have a certain workflow and work style, and if it can stay in that, and I can show you what it would look like, then I'll use that tool. Like say for instance, I can describe some, like say for instance, I guess if you're going to use like ConvertKit as a no-code tool, I mean, as a CRM, whatever. But I mean, I like ConvertKit because I can duplicate my funnels and my automation sequences. So if I'm working with another client, I don't have to go back and rebuild it. I can copy the URL, put it in their system, and we're ready to roll. So I look at certain like commonalities, or like, am I building this for someone else? Can I use this? And that's why I like Notion a lot too, because I like, in my head, it makes sense how it's structured and I can share it really easily. Now, it obviously has major limitations, but to me, the workflow is like, I can build curated search engines really, really quickly and share them. And they look the way that I like. You know, I could do it in Google Sheets. I could do it in a bunch, but I'm like, I like this. And maybe because I use too many emojis, but I'm like, I like this format. I like Notion. So that's why I'm going to use it. So yeah, so my workflow and then functionality. Now, I will say it has changed over time, because if I'm on certain projects or things like that, and someone just asked about Adalo versus GoodBarber, like, and I think I can answer it like this. It just depends on what's trying to happen. Like, so the question some people have, like in this one person, 1436 says like, Adalo versus GoodBarber, is one more user-friendly? Like, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, to me, GoodBarber is incredibly user-friendly because it's so concrete, you can't break it, but it has really finite things that you can't change. Adalo, on the other hand, I can change the workflow, I can change all of these other things. So it depends on what the functionality and what you need to do. There was a quote that I really like, and it was like, see the handle and not the tool. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, if I've got the handle and I'm trying to hammer something, like, I know exactly what I need, versus if I've got like a sword, yeah, I guess I could hammer some things in. I mean, I could turn it and like smack, you know what I'm saying? Like, what am I trying to accomplish? So yeah, maybe that was too much rambling, but yeah, that's how I see it.
That is awesome. I'll let someone else ask a question. Yeah, before I ask a few others.
Doug, having had so many jobs and having had so many different things to spend your time on, did you have a lot of moments where your experience in one of these jobs helped you do the things that you're doing now? Are you experiencing that a lot, or is it really a matter of starting again every time?
That's a really good question. No, I think everything has helped me. Like, and sometimes I would take jobs purposely because everything has helped. Everything has helped. I think because sometimes I found when I'm in a certain job or I work with certain types of people, it becomes like a silo, and it feels like everyone just feels like that's the solution, but it's only just because we're all talking to each other. Like, Some of the two best ideas I've had was, my wife almost killed me on this one, but like I stopped doing one of my jobs and I was like, I'm just going to be a lifeguard for like for like 6 months. And so I just worked at a college as a lifeguard and talking like to the students, like I had like some of my best ideas came from that lifeguarding job. And so I
Wait,
think
can we talk about this job? Can we talk about this job? Because I'm just like, this is awesome, of course. But what gives you the kind of the bravery, the balls to make a move like this all of a sudden? Just say, I'm just going to do this for 6 months. Isn't there anything that you could destroy making that decision?
Okay, and that's a good question. So this is the thing. With me and I know this is a luxury. I'm not saying everyone can do this, so I'm not saying this, but this is the thing. My wife is always like, if you cover and you can make the money to have us live, I don't care what you do. And that's the deal. We made this deal. If I do something random and like it's going to harm our family, I can't do it. But if there's a way that if she's like, if you want to go do it, like, like I'm not doing it, go do that. So me, it was always structuring the time. So I'll just give a basic answer. I know how much money I need to make per month, and I know what I have to do consulting. And I'll just say I have two things in my back pocket. I was a wedding DJ for almost like 18 years, and then I was a massage therapist. So if I ever needed money, I know that I can get a gig doing those things. Like, because I mean, except COVID, I mean, but I was like, wedding, like if I need money, I know I can go and I don't like DJing weddings anymore. I can't stand the Cupid shuffle and the cha-cha slide. Like I'm going to relapse and start drinking if I hear that again. But if I need to do it to make money, I can do that. So the whole thing is, it's a really good support system. My wife doesn't kill me, but I just know at the end of the time, and I don't want a lot of things. I just want freedom and the chance to build. So I will take those risks. And maybe if I'm thinking about it, I haven't really thought about it. My parents were pretty much like, they let me do whatever I wanted, like in reason, like, but they're like, yeah, go ahead, like just do whatever. And so I think those two things. I'm not sure if that gives you the answer you're looking for.
Yeah, no, it's actually better because it's not just a risk you're taking, it's also a strategy, because you don't have those backups if you never made the random decision to become a wedding DJ or make the random decision to become something else. So they actually doing all of these things become your hedges against the other stuff that are going to be more and more random as you move on, probably. But that's genius. But you just need to do a lot of those hedges to have those cards in your pocket. That's
yeah.
sick.
Yeah, I never really, you made it sound so much better. Pierre's asking, what
You're
was
welcome.
my DJ name too? Okay, so this is embarrassing. So I started DJing when I was 11. It was Weebles when I first started, and then it was Ill Tricks when I was competing, and then it was Bushido by the time I was in my early 20s. So it switched. So if people found me and like found my old like Weebles card, then it's, now that's bringing it back. But Mike, that's exactly right. Like, it's that. And like, I got my drone pilot license. I became a crime scene cleaner. It just, every single time I would just look for, Mark knows, yesterday I hit him up about Roblox, a game. And now like right after we talked, I found I found 5 friends that have kids, and I'm interviewing all the kids what Roblox is. I'm like, I'm going to start making money off this marketplace. Like I just found that. So yeah, Mike was exactly right. It's just trying to find, yeah, that's all I do.
What is the ultimate goal then, Doc? Are you satisfied with where you are at now, or you've got some goals that you're looking to sort of reach by a certain point in time? Or, what's the plan?
That's a really good question. So my goal is, at first, I always thought I would be happy if I just had an agency and just running an agency. And then I realized I can't stand working with clients that much. I love working with people that I love to work with. So I don't mean, it's for some of the ones that if my clients are watching, I'm not saying you, but for the most part, and they know that we're moving into group coaching today, but I want to have a diversity of micro SaaS platforms or micro SaaS and tools that I would want to use myself and that I can help other people. So I want to, if it takes shapes of WordPress plugins, but it was something I wish I had, if it was a micro SaaS that I'm like, I wish I had that when I started out. That's my whole goal in having a community like streaming and just experimenting and showing people, because I do want to have paid streams, but I want to give away most of it for free because, you know, Mark knows this. Like, I'll give you an example, like Sharetribe Flex. Like, I wanted to learn that for years, and there was no documentation, and like I had no idea how to do it. So like now I'm in a position to pay a coach to teach me how to do it, and then I'll release it for free. And if they want to work with me or they want consulting or want to be part of the Build It community, great. That's awesome. But I just want to have a diversity. Like, so I guess in my head, I don't want to do anything with the stock market. That's just me. This is just me. I want to bet on myself and have a diverse portfolio, and that is SaaS platforms and micro SaaS. That's my retirement. That's what I want to do. So I just love talking to people. I love live streaming, and I love talking to all of you guys. So I just want to keep doing this and then have streams of income that, again, when you're sleeping, it happens. So having different, you know, templates that I'm selling now, having a membership at different levels, and then micro SaaSes. And that's what the goal is starting this year.
Well, I wish you all the success for that. That's, you know, that's admirable, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the no-code community feel that way. You know, as you know, side projects and hustles, whatever you want to call them. You know, some different way of entertaining yourself. You know, and calling it work, but making money and having a good time. And yeah, I think there's a real load of opportunities for that. So yeah, I wish you all the best for that.
Thanks, man. And by the way, and because Mark's on there and he's got a spreadsheet coach, go to him because I got coaching from Mark last week and it was the best thing for APIs. And so all the things I'm releasing, it's from Mark. Like, so that's what I want to do, to have these things for people to know, because honestly, Mark, like it's the way that you explained it and then teaching other people, like that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to have. So yeah, that's what I want to do. And there's
You're
someone
very kind.
on.
Thank you very much. You're very kind.
No, man, like awesome, like seriously. And I need your link. I'm gonna drop it in the chat real quick, Mark. I gotta put this up. If people need help with APIs, I'll drop it right now. Let's see. Lumjacker is talking about these guys are underrated. Hello. Well, thank you so much for being on the stream, and thank you for being here. Now, you know we're on Zoom, so you know I can't have my sound effects when most people come in. You know I usually do a horn and clapping and everything, but I'm on Zoom today. But we see you, and thank you so much for being here. Everyone on man, Esteban's here. Everyone's here on Twitch.
I've got, I don't know if you've seen the stream of questions in the Zoom chat, but
just tell me. Should I read them? No, you just tell. You just write. You say it, and then it will work out.
Yeah. But I don't want to, sort of rash through them before Tony or Christoph or anyone. Are you good, Tony? You got any? Yeah, cool. What do you see as like the common trends that you've seen that cause no-code products to fail? Is the first one.
Okay. Okay. That's a Pandora box. So there's two things. I think it's not validating product market fit, or someone wants it exactly. That's a huge one. And also too, I think it's really the assumptions of what it's going to accomplish or who's going to use it. I think that's where it fails. The second part is sometimes it's the use case or the workflow of how you're using the product. So there's some no-code tools, and I mean, if you want, I can name them, because you just tell me, Max. I can be very polite, or I can just tell you which ones. But there are some that overpromise and don't deliver. So there are some that, if you look at it, it makes all the sense in the world. I would love this. When you use the platform, it doesn't work that way, and they will not admit that it doesn't work that way. So what's going to happen, right? So I think those are the two biggest things. Or the other thing that I see, and this is more of a new thing than, in the last year, and you see this, they get funding before they're even ready, and now they just blow all their money, and they're like, yeah, we got VC funding, we're we've made it. And I can tell you, and on the bad side of it, I've been in 4 startups. I know that's not a lot, but it was the hubris of the startup of why we crashed and burned. It was, they got funding, and we just went way too fast, and then it just went all downhill. So I think sometimes when you get funding and it's a great thing, but you don't know where to go, and then you're ready, that it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great answer to that. And the next question is around how you avoid burnout. I feel like we've kind of touched on that with your little naps during the day, but is there any other ways that you stay a machine but stay sane while you do it?
Yeah, a lot of breaks, a lot of breaks. So I think it goes back to like my 90-minute thing. Okay, so I've only had burnout when I was doing the wrong thing. Like, say for instance, I would think that I would need to do this because everyone else is doing it a certain way, then I would burn out. I would say, okay, I need to act this way. I'll give you a perfect example. Like, when I like using Clubhouse, but like when everyone's like, you need to spend like 20 hours in Clubhouse to really make a dent in it. Well, when I did that earlier in the year, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing this to make my empire. I just got burned out. I felt like, no, it didn't give me energy. What gives me energy is like live streaming and doing activities that allow me to move fast in the way that I like creating content. And so sticking to that, I think. And then also realizing that you don't have to get everything done in one day. And you know what? And bullet journaling, like bullet journaling really helped me because it broke up projects and tasks for me. And I would only look at projects before, and I'm like, I haven't finished it. But if you do tasks, for me, it just makes me feel good. And I'm like, I can stop. I can come back later. Like, I can come back in 3 hours. Before, I'd sit there and grind out, like, I have to do this. And then I would just burn out. I'd burn out.
Yeah, same here. And we've got the famous question that it's on everyone's mind is, where the heck are you in your bunker?
First of all, I think, Max, you put that question in, so I don't respect that question. But okay, so this is a funny thing. So I'm in my basement, so it is like a bunker, but this is actually the same exact set in our office. So when COVID happened, my wife was like, "You're not going to the office," and I was like, "I've got to film. Like, people will know." She's like, "I'm gonna make it in the basement." So there's a section in the basement, and she remade it. So if I'm in the office or I'm at home, people can't tell. The sets are identical. It was to the point of my videographer. We all share the same office. He couldn't tell that I wasn't in the office. He's like, "Bro, like, it's COVID. What are you doing in the office? You're not allowed to be in the office." I was like, "Okay, if you can't tell the difference, no one's going to tell the difference." So technically, I'm in my basement, and this is what she's orchestrated. And then my wife she's my project manager, and she has her own business and own things. She's a maker. So her labyrinth is on the other side of the wall, where she's a prop maker. She does molding casts. She does all of this crazy stuff. And I don't go in there. So I'm staying right here.
Good to know. It sounds more peaceful on the other side for some reason.
Well, it depends who you ask.
Oh,
and Esteban's asking from the chat. Do you mind if I say this real quick, Max?
Yeah, go for it.
Esteban, and by the way, Esteban is doing Notion in Spanish. Go check him out, by the way. Check him out on Twitter. He's doing all the tutorials for working with Notion HQ and everything like that. He's a killer. So Esteban asks, I must say, initially, I didn't like the idea of no code because I thought it was something for lazy people. Then I understand what no code really was. And I realized I was using a lot of no code tools without knowing it. Yeah, like Doc said, he was using it for 10 years ago but you didn't have a name for it. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I'll use no code because it will allow me to talk to people and people understand at the level of what I'm saying. But I don't care what you call it. It's for me to get my ideas done and for me to make money quicker. And if that's called no code right now, I'll call it no code, whatever. If it's going to be called something else in 5 years, I'll roll with that too.
How just off the back of that, how are you explaining no code to people that aren't in the space? Because people don't get no code when you say no code.
That's a really good question. I don't. I just tell them, I just ask them, I said, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? I don't tell them no code. I don't get into the theology or anything. I'm just like, you need to do this. You need to do this automatically. You would like to not do this manually. Okay, great. I've got a solution for them. I don't tell them the platform I'm using. I don't tell them that it's no code. I get them results. Then if they care to have the conversation, then I'll tell them it's no code. But I've never had someone and this is like on the YouTube channel, when I used to say no code everything, people didn't know what that was even at, and they would just leave. They're like, that's not me because I don't even understand that. So instead, I'm just like, you're trying to create this, I would use this, or this is the scenario. So I don't even use the name no code, only on Twitter. I'll do it in my tags on YouTube and things like that. But in my videos, if you hear, I usually don't say the word. Yeah. So that's how I approach it.
Same here. And does anyone else have any questions before I launch into a few others?
Well, I want to know about the stormtrooper.
That's funny. Okay. So so I used to go to comic conventions all the time. This isn't even my good one. This is anyway. So I have props all around my room. I have all around. So I have all my masks from all of my different cosplays. So yeah, I've got to have that. On my other shot, you saw that. Okay, Mark. So yeah. So huge Star Wars fan, and I just had to have something around this in the room. Now I have something even more obscure. I asked my wife, I'm like, can I start using this in my shots? And she's like, no. She's like, I built that. That's my prop. No. So I have to commission her to build my own armor. It's a specific one from The Mandalorian, but she says I can't even show it in my live streams. So, that's where I'm at in my life.
I might have to get myself some props. I've got nothing as impressive. I've got a drinks bottle and a calculator.
Hey, no, it's, you know what? And I'll say one thing too. Let me hold on one second. Hold on a second. It's not off topic, Max. Okay. It's not off topic. All right. Stall, say something, Max, when I'm doing this. I'm hooking up my other camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting a bit excited. This is an exclusive.
Okay. So when I was live streaming, so they were talking about making live stream like your environment, what you wanted to do. And so I was trying to figure out how can you tell your personality very, very quickly? Because before, and I can actually show you, it was a horrible setup. My first live stream, I was like, I'm going to be by a bookshelf so people know the type of books that I like and enjoy. No one cares, and no one can read the 100 books behind you, right? So they were talking about just very briefly trinkets or things that speak to your personality and how that can really help in live streams really quickly. And so behind it, that's what I have. So let me switch over. Hold on one second. You'll see it in a second. That's my other camera. You'll see it. It's in my 5K. Hopefully it will. Zoom is always, they hate me. Zoom hates my life. It's just terrible. It's another shot. So that's when I'm streaming the other way. And it's my DSLR, but it's a shot of my Stormtrooper helmet, a really obscure tin from Adventure Time in a Nintendo. It's really, this is a whole other thing. I'm going to go off on this tangent 1 second. I'll stop. I have this thing where if I go into stores, it started as a joke, but now it got out of control. I would go into stores and try to buy things that weren't for sale. So I would ask for how much is that mannequin? So I used to buy mannequins all the time at stores just to see if I could talk someone into doing it. So that Mario energy drink. I walked into a video game store and he's like, it's not for sale. And I don't know how I wore him down, but I stayed there for like an hour and he finally sold it to me. So that can is very special to me. That's a side point. So that's why I have it. That was off topic. Sorry, Max.
No, it's good. It's good stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, we were saying, weren't we, Mark, that Doc should have his own reality TV show. I think that'd be quite fun.
Absolutely, I'd watch it.
It would be canceled very quickly. I think it would be fun, and then people are like, "No, this guy is terrible."
You get a cameraman to keep up with you. That's the problem.
I would love that. Oh, by the way, Cake Girl is in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. This is the first time you're here live. Thank you so much. This is the first time. And you know I would have had the sound effects. Next live you're on, you're going to get the sound effects. So thank you so much for being here, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't heard these sound effects. I need to
this is the only problem why I don't like doing streaming on Zoom, because I don't have my Stream Deck where I can do all my sound effects, man. But next time.
So coming back full circle to no code, what are the products that you're most excited about that are coming out? We're in beta, early access, whatever, in the no code space.
Okay, that's a good question. Wow, Max, I hadn't thought about that actually. Okay, so Softer, I hate to say that because it seems like the darling at the time, but Softer, honestly, the way that they're improving, they're having users and everything like that. I like how clean it looks and how easy it is to build. So it's very much like it's like a website builder, but I can have the power of Airtable and things like that. So I'm really excited about Softer and where they're going. There's one called, I'm going to cut them out. What did you say?
Is it Y code? Is that?
I got to check. I got to check this. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to say just like off the bat, Softer. Notion, it's been there forever, but I like what I'm doing with it. It depends on what type. I know I'm not sure if a lot of people are into like streaming platforms. I have Odium, so I just built my streaming platform. So if you go into the App Store right now on Android or the Apple Store, you type in build with me, you'll see my app, and that was done in Odium. So it's a streaming platform. I think it was a really, really streamlined way of building like a white labeled Netflix. It's expensive for certain plans, but I think streaming platforms, you can already see what's going on with cable and Disney Plus and everything. I just think that streaming platforms, they're going to become more and more prevalent for people to take advantage of their base. And I'm not saying in a bad way, just monetizing their tribe and giving them exactly what they want in a streaming platform, more than like a learning management system. So like an LMS, you can do that with Podia and Teachable and Thinkific. But I think having designated streaming platforms with very specific features, I think that's going to be huge. So that's, streaming. And I mean, Sharetribe Flex, I know it's been a while, but I'm really excited delving in and doing it. Now, limitations depends on what you're trying to do. And I think there's 5 other platforms I would go until you're trying to get to the functionality of Sharetribe. I think there's so many other platforms you can use marketplaces or build marketplaces. That's it. I'm going to go into my AppSumo account real quick and look at what I bought. Let me check real quick.
Yeah, please do. And just while you're doing that, when touching on live streaming, like what obstacles do you face? What challenges are you facing, like doing it like quite frequently, and how are you overcoming them?
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. So with live streaming, and there's some in like On Deck or whatever, there's the barrier for live streaming is so low now. It's actually just getting your mind around it and just doing it. Because it's really easy to talk yourself out of it. I don't have the perfect angle. I don't even have the perfect mic. Like, I'll do it tomorrow. You know what? I just don't like, I don't want to. live streaming. So one of I've shown this and I've recorded it. I can teach almost anyone to live stream within 7 minutes. And you use restream.io. Like Restream is free. You can go and start you can go live on 30 different platforms for free with restream.io. By the way, if anyone needs it, I have an affiliate code. I'll drop it in the chat. So you can do things like that. But it's really easy. It's really easy. And I really like Restream. So for live streaming, I don't see it a barrier. It's you getting comfortable. Now, the hack is you've got to be in a place that gives you a calm for you to be able to do it. And the thing is, you can't live stream once. It's like working out. You have to do it multiple times to get used to it. If you go once, I streamed once and then you don't do it for a month, you'll just hate it. You'll just regret doing it because you're only doing it once a month. If you say like, I'm going to do it for the next 10 days straight, you're going to think about like how well you're going to be equipped in 10 days. And so like, actually, Max, like that's how I started live streaming when we met with 100 Days of No Code. I just went live for 40 nights and no one watched for the majority of the month. I would stream in the middle of the night, but like that's how I learned the different things. I learned how to use TubeBuddy, learned how to use Restream, and like it's just getting used to it. So I always say like find a place where you feel comfortable. You can sit down. It's like you're having a conversation. Do you want to do it with a webcam or do you want your phone? Like, tell me which platform or how you're going to do it. You can get it done. That's it.
Amazing. Yeah, it's I remember those early days when you're doing it, and I was because I knew like you were like epic at it, but no one was watching. So I remember like being in the Slack, in the 100 Days Slack, like making sure I gave you a little emoji as much as I could to give you that little boost. But I mean, to be fair, I'm saying that you did have watchers, you did have listeners. So
don't lie. No, I didn't.
I was watching.
It was thank you. It was almost like 40 days. Like I only maybe one or two. And to the point, if you watch the early ones, to give myself motivation, like this maybe shows you how crazy I would be. I would make up people or make up questions. I would be like, oh, Joel just asked me this question just to keep myself motivated during it. And so during a lot of the first streams, I would just be talking to myself, or I had an automated bot that was doing messaging, but it sounded like someone was pinging me all the time. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And it was just my music pinging me. So it's all right. I just say like, it's all right. It's actually better when people aren't watching you at first because you get used to it and you don't feel like overwhelmed. So, go live. It does. And the thing is, even if people aren't watching your live stream, you think about how many people could watch the replay. So don't worry about if people like, oh, I only have five people, whatever. And like, I remember this one troll came into my stream last week and he's like, bro, you only have 7 people live right now. I was like, this is a great day. This is a great day. And like, even I'll take the thing is, I'll even take trolls because with algorithms, if you have more comments, you actually get recommended higher when you're live. So I invite the trolls. Like it actually allows my numbers to go higher. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. And if you don't take it too serious, and you know what, I'll tell you one last thing. When they see that you're not doing everything perfect, and it's not a curated video, and it's not edited, people love you more because they see how many imperfections you have. And then people are like, man, he's not perfect. You mess up. And that's, people will respond back. They're like, oh man, Doc, like it looks like you're really struggling, or you make it like you're really learning in real. I'm like, I'm really learning in real time. Like those are not like made up things. I'm really struggling right now, but people like to see it. So it's fun.
Yeah, I love it. So has anyone got any last questions before we wrap up things? I know we're hitting the hour, but yeah, anyone got any final questions for Doc?
Oh, and I forgot.
What do you substitute for Bubble when you think, like, if it's the tool that's supposed to be used? Because I got one in the back of my mind, like Bubble's perfect for this, but I suck at design. So therefore, I don't want to have to use Bubble, but that's where I'm at. So how would you substitute? Like, what stack would you put together to get around that?
That's a really good question. Okay. All right, Tony. So that's a really good thing. First of all, I write down on a Notion document the exact functions that I want of the app. So I know the capacity of what platform that I want to do. Like, if you don't mind, Max, can we go over 5 minutes over just so I can answer this? Okay, cool. So Tony, like real time, like what's the functionality, if you don't mind, or generalities if it's
No, like basically you have a website that you build that someone put basically a menu on that create a pop-up store for lack of a better term. Then people would be able to see that on their phone by scanning a QR code, and then on the back end that menu just gets fulfilled, which is probably off of like a tablet.
Say that again. You said a menu. Say that again.
Yeah, you're gonna create like a pop-up menu. Like, so it'd be like a one-time use only menu, or maybe it would be reused, but a one-time use menu that, you know, and then at your event, people could scan it with their phone. They have off of a QR code. So the owner would be able to put their menu in for their one time. People then at the event would be able to scan it, order what they want, and then the people fulfilling the menu on the back end would be working off of just like a tablet, like, oh, yep, we made that, we fulfilled that, we fulfilled that.
Okay.
So it's like three different types of users with three different types of optimized type thing, but it doesn't need to necessarily be responsive. It just needs to be, each one is optimized for the device that it's probably being used on.
All right, that's a really good question. Thank you. So there's a couple things that I would do, and this is just me. I would first write down the functionality, exactly what you just told me, and then write down how are people doing it manually right now, and what does that process look like? Are you doing it for yourself, or is it for a certain demographic? And then I would watch what they're doing and ask them specifically, what point is the most struggling point, or what's costing you the most time or energy or whatever. And then I'm slowly automating or building that out based on the use case versus just the QR code. The reason I say that is I'm like, oh yeah, that might be a QR code. Okay, I'm thinking of platforms that can do QR codes. Would I necessarily want to tackle the QR code first? Can I do something else different? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, the QR code is almost like, that's the easiest part. I'm sorry, that's not. I know that's the only tech part that I mentioned. It's actually more that back end functionality though, of like, because you have like a database, you've got the menu, and then you've got the three different screens of users putting stuff into the database. So that was more, how can I get this like website to be the three different ways? Or should I build it three different ways and all calling from the same database? So
to me, and if you want, like, Mark is a better person with databases, I'm just gonna be real with you. So I would talk to him. But when I hear databases or different views and everything like that, I'm just thinking about, okay, what does the database have to do, the functionality of the database? And then I'm like, okay, that's great. How do I want it to engage with? Okay. Does it have to be an app right now? Can it just be a web app, like forward facing? And then I'm just can have it, optimize whatever. So if I'm looking at it, I would probably do something with Paperform off the top of my head, and then I'm integrating with some kind of database. The reason I'm going with Paperform is it has a lot of different native integrations, and it does things even without Zaps. And then I'm thinking about a database that is flexible enough. Either I'm looking at the functionality of Airtable, or I'm doing something with Google Sheets. Now, again, that's just something I'm thinking about to test it, but to fully understand what's going on, my approach is, if it's either you or your target demographic that needs help with this, I just like to record everything that they're doing and just have a conversation with, and then I tackle the no code section one step at a time of the almost like the what's the word, the bottlenecks of, and then I'm only solving that in no code until I'm building it out totally. Does that help?
Yep. Thank you.
No worries. I hate to do it just like, oh, this is, it's not a complete answer. But what I found is sometimes I in the past, I would jump ahead and I'm like, oh, I'll use Bubble for this. I'll and then I'll talk to someone. I'm not sure if this is an anecdote or if this is a real story, but it's like, I think they talk about the US program and space program, like how to write in space with like a pen, and they spent millions of dollars. And then like they asked the Russian astronauts, like, how'd you solve this problem? They're like, yeah, we use pencils. And they're like, oh, you know, so that's why when I'm solving no code, I'm that detailed. And if it's sometimes I ask them to, could I interview you? And I want you to go through the process, and I record them. So if they're on Zoom or whatever, I'm like, can we just record this? And then we go through the whole process. Number one, that's content for you. That's content for later on. And then you're asking them to rate, okay, these are the steps. And I write it down in a Notion document. We did these 9 or 10 steps. Which one gave you the most anxiety or the struggle, or really this is the problem of your business? And a lot of times those small mechanisms, solving those sometimes, you know, helps you so much before you build out the whole app. Good times. Cool. Max, you want me to show this one last thing and then roll it?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Cool. By the way, in the chat, Jose, thank you so much from True Reply. By the way, thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. And make money. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry about the notifications not working, but thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna have to start sending out texts just in case, so you don't miss the live stream. So let me know about that. So real quick, this is just we were talking about this at the beginning. And thank you so much for staying and being here. But this is the 90-minute workday on how I approach my entire like workday and everything. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about the weekly meeting, and then this is how I break down all of my entire day. So the weekly meeting, I have one weekly meeting with the staff. Excuse me. You know, like my project managers, my wife, but then we have other Creative Cloud members that are around the world. We record this, and then they get access to this. So we do this on Monday morning. I have the weekly meeting. So we talk about the number of clients, and now we're switching to groups. So this is changing, but number of active clients, names of clients, stress level of each client. We rate the client, how much stress they give us. So we have that internally, because then if it's like, if we look at it in the last 5 months, it's all 5s. We've got to look at either they're not a great fit for us, or we're not a great fit for them. And then we offload them on to someone else, because we don't want to have them still paying money and they're upset and we're upset because they're causing us so much stress. So we do an internal stress meter with everyone. And then we have a timeline, duration, projects, what's going on. And we have a traffic light signal. So we have this in our Google sheet. If everything's ahead of time, green lights, on time, yellow lights, behind, red lights. So easily everyone can see across the board what's happening with the team, and everyone's accountable. Also too, we have like need something, what's your obstacles? And then we have revenue report, revenue goals, projects to reach goals. And so everyone in the company knows how much, you know, senior staff and people that are, you know, that need to know our revenue. If there's certain teams that we don't want them to know the whole revenue or something like that, we'll break down of their department, what they need to know, their sales and everything. This is basically the habits and how I break down my whole life. So I have this, and I write this in all my notebooks. Habits make you into the person you are. And so it's 90-day minute blocks. And then I just basically live this life. So every day I time myself. So I plan for 5 to 30 minutes. I execute for 5 to 30 minutes, and then I research. So planning, I literally on my notebook, I write down everything that I need to do. And, you know, I do this twice a day. So in the morning, it might be longer. It might take me like 15 minutes. In the evening, it might take me 5. It just depends. But if I finish within this time, I just go into executing. With executing, I shut everything else off. So I have hidden me. I have all of my notifications off, and then I just execute for that time so I don't get distracted. And then I research, what do I need to do next? And what's next on the agenda? And if I have more time, I go right back into planning, and then I just rinse and repeat, and I just go until 30 minutes are up, or 90 minutes. If I look at this, usually right now, if I do a 30-minute block, I could go 30 minutes. I usually work 20 minutes, and then I take a break, or I go to lay down, or go for a walk, or do something else. And then before I go into that next section. So even though it's like 30 minutes, I'll do 20 minutes and then probably take a 10-minute break and then go into the next section. And then how I do it is my block per day: admin, And so I look at my emails twice a day. Action being in meetings, planning, these just like breakdowns. And then I have themes per day. So I have meetings on Monday, videos on Wednesday. That's why I live stream and do all my stuff. I batch all of my content on Thursdays. And then discovery, that's where I'm just like taking random videos or trying to learn something. And then prep day, that's my longest work day. I just stream myself working online, and that's it. Yeah. That's how it's broken down. But anyone can do this, like, honestly. And if anyone needs help or want to see how they structure their day, like, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
I love the way everyone's just sort of speechless, just like, oh, that's how you do it. No, it's good. That is good insight. I think even if you can like replicate like even 10% of that output, I think you'll be doing quite well. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, Doc.
And I have one last thing for you, by
please.
the way.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
And I'll stop. I swear to you, I'll stop. This is how people like, but you do like, how do you do all this stuff?
Yeah.
This is the thing. So I have a lot of VAs or whatever. If I do a task more than twice, I make it an SOP. So I have a 1-sentence summary of what we do. And then I also say, if we do it wrong, this is how much it's costing the business. So everyone that's doing anything in the business knows clearly on one line what the end goal is and how much, if we mess this up, if I mess this up, how much we are out of money if we mess this up. And so it's on one line. Resources. So we have all the recordings, we have step-by-step, and then we have the checklist. So I do it first. I record myself. I do it. I send it to my project manager, or we outsource it to a VA. Then we have that VA hire another VA that does not know us at all to try to do that as well. And then they work on the SOPs over and over and over again. I have nothing to do with it past then. And if we can have it three separations away from me and get it done with a 90% or higher accuracy record, then we have the standard SOP for that. And then we do this for everything in the business.
Wow. And yeah, Mike, do you have any questions on that? Sorry.
No, I'm just, I don't even have a question yet. I think this is crazy. Like the degrees of separation is so incredibly smart, because that's true delegation that you're doing there. Like, for sure that, and you're working on the process, you're not working on the thing itself. What, can you do this for creative work at all?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So it depends, but usually I prompt myself. So yeah, I have SOPs for creation. So if I'm trying to come up with an idea or something like that, yeah, I have SOPs of, even if it's like I'll give you an example. Like there was something that Mark knows yesterday. I was looking up Roblox or something. If I'm looking at something, I know the SOPs of, for me, I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but like I outsource, like I need help with research. So I already have a friend, same guy that has all these jobs. I'm like, I pay him a gig service. I pay him $5. I'm like, I need you to research me this and find me like the 5 bullet points of how I can do this. So then he comes back, and then I'm like, okay, and I need the starter video, how to start. And then like, so that's my process of like, okay, then I have a system. I have 25 minutes to research this and come to a conclusion here. And then if I don't, either I have to store this away and I put this in another file, or if I have that breakthrough, now I'm allowed to level up and continue it. So yeah, I have SOPs on all of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but if anyone wants any of these copies, like they're just Notion documents, so just hit me up, and yeah, I'd love to share them, all that kind of stuff. All right, Max, I know I'm over time, man.
No, it's good. I think we need another session just on SOPs. I feel like I've got loads of questions. But yeah, that was amazing. Really great fun hearing a little bit more about your story, your what you've got to the left and right of you, and some no code insights along the way to keep it on theme. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Yeah, it's been really good fun. And yeah, see you all on Slack or Twitter or elsewhere. But Doc, do Do you have anything else to say before we wrap up?
No. I mean, no. First of all, I got to plug 100 Days of No Code. Actually, honestly, the reason I started live streaming was it was Edmund in 100 Days of No Code. This was like day 5 of the first one you did. And I would just randomly post, and like only Max would put an emoji. And I was like, he has to, because this is his Slack community. He has no choice. But afterwards, Edmund's like, you know what? I think you have that right there. Like, just keep doing that. And so honestly, I'm all about like, there's so much in no code. There's so many different things. I'm huge about like, it's a wide open ocean. Like, double down on one of the things that you love doing, and like, you're better than anyone else in your category, and just focus on that. Like, no code is just way too big. So focus on that, and you'll go so much farther, and you'll enjoy it. And I cannot tell you, the more you can live stream, the more you have documentation, people will find you, and you'll have your own tribe. Like it even ask Steven, like Steven Campbell, like he was like, I'm not sure. I'm like, just keep doing it. Most of his inquiries, he only has 100 subscribers. He gets more than 14 inquiries a week on Bubble API stuff for his business with just a few views relatively. Like, so just focus on what you want to do, document yourself, have fun. And like 100 Days of No Code, I really think it's probably one of the best building blocks to keep you focused on building with no code. So like anyone, I always say like, keep doing it, even sign up again. But yeah, it's been instrumental to keep focused.
I appreciate the kind words, Doc. Yeah, means a lot, and glad to have been a small part of your journey anyway, as part of your 43 jobs, whatever it is. But yeah, should we wrap up then? Yeah, cool.
Let's do it. All right, everyone.
See you guys next
Thank
week.
you very much. Cheers, Doc.
No problem.
Thanks, Doc.
See you, everyone. Bye.